Hey, welcome to From the Top, a show where I talk to friends and musicians about how they got started and how they got to where they are now. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Matthew Facca. I'm a producer, engineer, and mixer from Saskatoon. I work under the name Facca Audio. Episode 1 should be called Holy Shit, We Did It. I have recorded a handful of these already, and it's been really cool to have these conversations with my friends and ask questions that wouldn't normally come up in our usual conversation. We hope there's something to be learned from each episode, whether you're new to music or been doing it forever. Hopefully you can learn from our mistakes or our experiences. With that, I really look forward to watching this thing change and grow and kind of morph into whatever it needs to be. I hope to release a new episode every 2 weeks. These take time to edit, and I'm doing it for free, so I think 2 weeks is a pretty realistic goal. It may take you a little time to get used to my weird sense of humor, and if you don't make it very far, I get it. But if you see these plants beside me and you understand why they're there, I think we'll do just fine. Luckily, the show is much more about the guest than it is about me. Speaking of guests, my first guest is my friend Simon Jasieniuk. He works under the name Bee's Knees Recording. He's a producer, engineer, mixer, musician, photographer, videographer, and he's upsettingly good at all of those things. He's also just a good guy, a good friend, and a great hang. Hope you enjoy my conversation with Simon Jasieniuk. Hey, welcome to From the Top. I'm your host, Matthew Facca, here with my friend Simon here with my friend Simon. Hi, Simon.
Nailed it. Thanks for having me, Matthew.
Thank you for coming. First thing, plug, promote, tell everybody who you are, what you do. If they want to find you, where can they find it?
Simon Jasieniuk, owner-operator of Bee's Knees Recording in Saskatoon. I am a occasional session guitar player, bass player, photographer, videographer, do a little bit of all that kind of stuff, but the studio is definitely my main focus. Part of Sask One Mic with Matt here. And it's good to be here. This is one of my first podcasts, so cool. This is kind of fun. I'm an intaker of podcasts and not much of a creator. So it's good to be here. Good to talk. Cool. Good to have Lloyd here.
Yeah, to break the fourth wall immediately, there's a wiener dog who will be in and out of the shot quite a bit. It will be a problem, but hey, we love him, so that's why he's here. Yeah, that's right. All right, Simon, what first got you into music?
My parents were very supportive of music around the house. I was in kind of general music lessons as a kid. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years old. They put you in the Yamaha piano store on Broadway. Had like just music for kids that were too young to even know what music is. So you play a couple notes on the piano and then you hit some wood blocks,
kind of stuff. Yeah,
clap in time, maybe sing if you're really feeling crazy. And that was the kind of start of like my introduction to music. We had a piano at the house as a kid. So I was always plunking away on that in no particular musical fashion.
Perfect.
Or rhythmic for that matter. I assume. No, I was jazzy AF from day one. I was more jazzy then than I am now. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
good. Even though it's in the name.
Right, close enough. Yeah, okay. I'll take it. You know what? Fair. One for Matt. So there was always music around the house. My dad played piano kind of growing up and still does. He somehow maintains a knowledge of how to read music, maybe not fluently, but he can pick it up like really well, at least for piano, and get it back pretty quickly. So I remember by the time I started taking lessons for piano, I was probably around 5 years old. Dad and I would play little duets of just whatever. We didn't have too many worked up, but we had like 3 or 4 songs that we would do. Cool. And that was fun. So that's kind of where I started. Definitely a little bit of a push from the parents. But music was always around, and I was happy to be involved in it from a young age.
Cool. Did you take any official lessons in any instruments at some point?
Yeah. So I think the official lessons started for piano probably shortly after. I think I was probably 5 years old. Some of my neighbors, a couple doors down, were piano. 3 sisters, one played cello, one played violin, and one played piano. And I would walk over to their house and take some piano lessons, and that's where that kind of official lessons started. Cool. Did that for a few years, and I think by the time I was 9 was when I started discovering that much music was a thing. And then I was like, you know what? I'm 9 now. I'm a big person. it's time to be a rock star.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
I think 9 years old was the switch.
To pause you right there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you remember the band Treble Charger? They just came into my head the other day for I don't know what reason. They had one song.
don't.
I already forget what it's called. They're Sum 41 at the same time as Sum 41.
Okay.
And then Sum 41 won.
Perfect.
Sorry. All right. 9.
I
Big
don't
boy,
remember,
much
but
music.
I'll take it. Yeah. So I discovered Much Music watching at the grandparents' house. They would put Treehouse on for, I don't know if Treehouse still exists, but I had no problem with Treehouse. All good. But the little button that instantly switches between two channels of your choosing,
Last
Treehouse
channel.
was on one and Much Music was on the other.
Yes.
And I would make sure to take in as much music as possible. And then if the grandparents would start walking back to the room, I could see them coming from a mile away, and I'd switch back to Treehouse and whatever. And that was, the introduction to... What's up?
I was going to say, you were ready for your teenage years before your teenage years. Take that as you will. Keep going. Sorry. That's
Sure. I'll have to catch up with you on that one too, I think.
Hopefully nobody else does either.
So, yeah. What am I even saying?
Somebody keeps interrupting you. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Much music.
Much Music.
Yeah.
Grandparents would walk in, flip back to Treehouse. And Much Music introduced me to Sum 41 you mentioned. That's great. But Green Day they were very popular on Much Music around the time that I think they were one of the bands that made me switch from piano to guitar. Specifically, Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Cool. That song
It did it for me.
Yeah, that song's the reason I bought a tremolo pedal.
There you
The reason
go.
I tried to Google what the hell that was.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a trem pedal. Like, all right, cool, let's buy it. So,
Sure.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, give me one.
Yep.
I didn't, but
good.
I learned the chords.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
And for my grade 5 talent show at St. Philip Elementary School, I played Boulevard of Broken Dreams, 3 electric guitars, all instrumental. 2 of my friends were strumming, and I played the lead melody. And we rocked the house down.
Excellent.
It was hilarious. But yeah, that was kind of my introduction to guitar and to more of the rock side of music. Because before that, my parents had like Celine Dion, Gordon Lightfoot, the Beatles, Connie Calder, Sarah McLachlan. I'm missing so many that are, I'm sure, very important, but you get the idea.
In the ballpark, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Nothing like too super heavy. Although my mom was a huge Queen fan.
Whoa.
So that was significant there. I never remember her playing it like too much, but the Shrek 1 soundtrack was significant with all those songs.
Good movie, by the way.
Which I don't think there's Queen on that, but yeah, Shrek is Shrek.
Like, I could watch
still
that movie
lives.
tomorrow, and it's like, yep, good.
Yep.
I'm cool. Like,
I saw something about how ladies love a dad bod, but Magic Mike grossed like $171 million.
Yeah.
So keep dreaming. It's like, hey, Shrek grossed $450 million. So
now what? Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, the beast is back.
the beast. So yeah, that was kind of where everything started, and it's kind of been a slow, steady progression since then.
Cool. Do you remember the first guitar?
I do. It was either, I think it was a Squier Red Stratocaster, because why wouldn't it be?
Yep.
I think that's the only or one of the few acceptable first guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think that was that was that 9-year-old guitar for sure. I don't have that anymore, and I don't particularly miss it, but it is certainly responsible for my start, so we love it.
Sure.
But yeah.
All right. Meet Lloyd. Oh, hi.
Hi, Lloyd. Sniff, sniff, sniff.
It's like he knows. Did you have any, like, in the Much Music kind of vein of things, did you have, like your friend Steve that would show you, hey, check out this band, that kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. One of my friends, I still run into him every now and again, I remember he burnt me a CD when I was in grade 4, so just kind of before I made the switch to guitar. Him and I would kind of jam around a little bit on guitar once I switched. And he made me this mixtape of, like, it had Black Eyed Peas, Britney Spears, but also like some bizarre blues song and like One Last Breath.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah. Like, and I love that song so much, not because I actually didn't realize that that song was so popular amongst people like in
Right.
our kind of age group. Because I liked it because it was on that CD. I didn't really have a relationship with that song outside of
Just that
receiving
CD.
that CD. So I'm
Cool.
like, but hey, this is the CD that I was given, and I love all the songs on there for whatever reason. And then only come to find out now that it's like everybody my age loves that song and kind of has either their own reason or whatever. So it's a funny coincidence that that's how it is. But
Cool.
yeah,
Nice. Was it back to Green Day? Was that American Idiot? Was that the time?
for sure it was. Yeah, I don't even know if I heard about them before they were on Much with. I was Holiday and Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think American Idiot was maybe a single or a video after that. I really distinctly remember the transition from, Holiday was first into Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Right.
And I think seeing that on Much, and I was like, this is crazy.
You can do this?
Because that's two
Yeah.
songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely the thing. Like American Idiot for sure. I kind of went back into their catalog after that a little bit, but American Idiot was the one. And then I remember going to A&B Sound, if anybody in Saskatoon remembers that, on the whatever third level where they have the CDs.
Right.
And I went in there with my mom because I was still 10 and I can't drive. And we find the record just on CD. And I think I picked it off the shelf and I held it in the way, or I held my thumb in the way of the explicit thing.
Yes.
And, but we got up to the counter and she like rings it through and she's like, just so you know, this has this whatever thing. And then my mom's like, oh, maybe we better not. And I was like, oh. So to this day, I have listened to American Idiot as an album so many times. Thank you, LimeWire and FrostWire.
Sorry to your parents' computer, I assume.
I think we dodged a lot
you?
of the
Okay, yeah, well,
sketchy
nice.
shit.
Cool.
Yep. But yeah, so listened to it a ton of times, but I've never owned it on any medium,
No.
like physically, or I haven't purchased it even on iTunes or anything. I've never given them my money for it.
I think I'll lead the question with my own answer, but like whenever that album was out, I could play the whole thing front to back, every note of every part at one point. Do you have any albums like that?
I have never, no. Big listener of it. I think I learned multiple songs or parts of multiple songs, but I don't think I've ever had anything that I go actually front to back and can play confidently on any one instrument.
That's the only thing I have in that regard. So
Okay.
Also, I grew up on a farm, so there wasn't a whole lot to do. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. I think I was always playing guitar and I enjoyed doing all of that, but I never really had the interest or need to play it front to back. I do have the tab book though.
Ooh. You gave a little bit of money.
That's right.
Unless
Okay,
you stole
okay.
that tab book. But,
No,
you know, it's,
so I own it. Definitely bought that from Long and McQuaid.
Okay.
So I do own the album in tabs,
Cool.
and that's it.
They got a little bit of your money. Good to
That's
know.
right. Honestly, well deserved. Happy for them.
They've given us enough of their time. That's right.
That's right.
Cool. Did you play in a band, high school, anytime like that?
No band experience. No. I as soon as I got into high school, I met the Johnner family.
Bunch of jerks, I've heard.
Yeah. Well, Luke and I were on the, we both tried out for volleyball, I think is actually where we met, oddly enough. One of us made the team, one of us didn't. And
May I
no,
take a shred of a guess as to if it's the taller one?
you know what? You're
No.
going in the right direction.
You're pretty damn athletic, so I would give you libero.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I was not the libero. I didn't make the team. But
Congratulations, Luke.
yeah, that was kind of the start to that. And we had a mutual friend at the time that we would kind of get together and jam as you do in high school. And yeah, that kind of led to, I don't know what timeline would have been over the course of high school, the next kind of couple years, we would play and jam and do covers and started recording a little bit. And then I think it was 2011, Brad kind of approached all of us, or at least myself and the three oldest Johnner boys. And he said, you want to come play with me on the road? We're like, what? I mean, yeah, but
How?
don't you have a band that is just killer? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? So I was super grateful to be able to do that. Like, it was a crazy thing. I was still in grade 11, and is the sort of end of grade 11 that we did our first couple shows. And I remember leaving class and just having to get up and kind of excuse myself, like not even that much early, like whatever, a few minutes. And my teacher, Mr. Scott, I remember, he sat me down or stop me from getting up. He's like, Simon, what are you doing? Like, you can't, I'm talking, like, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I got to go. Like, I'm playing a show. And he's like, what, are you playing a show? What do you mean? You're not playing a show. And he's, whatever, asking questions. I'm like, yeah, I got to go to, I can see it in my head. I have the picture. I got to come back to this. I can't believe I'm forgetting it.
Town or venue?
Town. This is like the show that kind of was the tipping point to then we like started playing a whole bunch more. Holy smokes. Okay, we'll come back to it. Anyway, playing a show and he's with who and all this kind of stuff. So it ended up being kind of like an in-class discussion for 5 minutes, and then he finally let me leave. But he was like, oh, okay, well, yeah. I mean, who am I to...
I guess, yeah.
If you're doing that in whatever, grade 12 or 11, who am I to stop you?
Stay back and teach all these nerds.
Yeah. So, that was that. And then I remember on that specific drive home, I got a flat tire and I made it 3/4 of the way and realized, pulled over in a gas station, had to ditch the car, walk home. The guys had to come pick me up, and I was like, oh, and we made it and everything was fine. But, yeah.
From rock star to walking home.
That's cool. Right. Yeah. It's just ups and downs in this industry. Hey, it's a daily roller coaster.
Yep.
Right from day one.
And he's generally part of it. Yes. Hi. Cool. So one thing that I've kind of always found interesting about you is you're not the nerdy, useless gear acquiring head that I am.
Oh, gear acquiring head. I was going to say nerdy. Ask my wife what she thinks about that.
Hey, one of us has a wife. The other one has a wiener dog.
That's right.
Want to see who wins?
Yeah, I try to be... Oh man, it's tricky because like the getting into gear, I love gear so much, but I also have been distracted by gear so much.
Tell me about it.
And yeah, I don't know. I think I get the most excitement from acquiring a piece of gear, fine, but if I can do something with that piece of gear that makes me excited, then it's worth it. And if I just have a piece of gear sitting there to look cool, then that doesn't make me as happy as getting to a result with said piece of gear. So I've kind of trained myself to acquire gear based on what I actually need to accomplish. Cool. So usually it's like, if I watch a YouTube video or talk to like, you've turned me on to a bunch of gear, either software or like different stuff. Yeah, well, it's true. Like right from like so long ago, that if there's something that I either don't know I can do, and if I acquire a piece of gear, then now I can do it. Or just anything like that. If I run into a bottleneck, how can I solve this? If the answer, at least partially, is buying a piece of gear, then I'll buy that piece of gear or software or whatever and do it.
Sure.
If it's just cool, that's usually not enough for me to buy something. It kind of was at the start, but I don't know. I don't have enough space to have endless amounts of gear, and I like having I've got enough drum gear. I've got a bunch of basses. I've got a bunch of guitars, a bunch of not as many pedals as you, but I've got more pedals than I use.
Sure.
And
that feels like a shot you didn't need to take, but that's fine.
Oops. Accidental shot. Yeah, but I think like having trying to have enough gear that I can put a song together means that there's just a lot of other instrument disciplines or whatever types of stuff that I have to have. So acquiring, a bunch of gear, or like having, a bunch of snare drums or a bunch of, dampening things. Like I love dampening things, and I do have, the big fat snare drums and the
weights,
the rings and all that kind of stuff. But there's a certain point where, I don't know, you can do that with some tape and a cloth, or like,
sure.
I don't know, you can achieve results differently. I think it's nice to have things, if it's more convenient and saves you time and gets a consistent result, then that's cool. Because if you like a sound that you get, you can document and know exactly how to get back to it. And you're not it's not like you tape Kleenex onto the thing and then it's like, oh, where'd my Kleenex go? Like, you're not gonna. So I like gear for that, where you can get to a level of consistency and repeatability. But yeah, outside of that, it's tough. I'm trying to sell as much gear as I can, but you still got to be able to do the stuff.
Sure.
So.
So my
Anyway.
problem is every time I think, like you said, I have way too many pedals. Let's sell a pedal. And then it's like, well, before we sell it, I better plug it in and make sure it works. Then you plug it in, you're like, well, fuck, that's why I bought this thing. So I guess we're going to keep it. So that's my system.
That's fair. I mean, I definitely do have gear that I probably don't need. Either things that are sentimental. I've got a guitar that I bought on Marketplace for $180. I bought this guitar probably 12 years ago, and it's I've got a few videos on YouTube from the high school days. I call them instrumentals because they're instrumental metal songs, and it's just like a way to practice recording and get into being creative and all that kind of stuff. And there's a few guitars I use, but there's one main guitar. It's an Epiphone Prophecy EM2, I think is the model. And it's got like a blue quilted top finish. It looks really cool to a 16-year-old. Or 17 or however old I was at the time.
Do you still have it?
I definitely still have it. I almost never play it. I don't remember the last time I picked it up, but
It's just there, yeah.
I got to keep it. It just looks aggressive and cool and awesome. And it was the guitar that I used on Get Ready for the Rush for the Sask Rush lacrosse team.
Cool.
That was the only guitar that was used on that whole song.
Nice.
All the guitar parts were that same guitar. And that's enough for me where I'm like, I'll probably hang on to this for a while.
Cool. Yeah, that's fun.
I don't need it anymore, but I love it.
Perfect. Cool. Gigs. Any, like, again, playing with Brad and all the Johners.
Yeah.
That you played a couple of gigs.
Yep.
Any standouts in terms of, say, best and or worst?
Yeah. This is I don't have too many memories of a worst gig. I think in the days of playing with the guys, we would practice more in the off season, so to speak, than when there were gigs. So when the time that gigs would come up, we were just as prepared as we needed to be for that run. And there was never any cramming or anything. And it was things that within a single conversation could easily be tweaked for the next show. It's not like, oh, we got to run this 5 times,
right.
you know? So because of that, yeah, I don't know if there was any, I mean, I'm sure there were gigs that were less ideal than others, but definitely a few standout gigs. I think, well, this is kind of the easy answer, but Telemiracle is always a good one because there's lots of people there. It's changed, and I haven't been involved with Telemiracle the last few years, but when it was still at TCU and they would fill it up, like the Sunday night that it would finish, it'd be packed in there. And that's always a super cool energy. I always love that. Same venue at TCU in the really, really early days. I think maybe just the first couple of years of the Johnner Boys, we opened for the Saskatoon Children's Choir, the Christmas concert. And they shoved us on that like 5 feet of stage in front of the curtain,
right.
But the pit was down too. So it's like, oops, be careful. Don't fall down.
Yeah, wow.
And we opened for that, which was great because that was our first like local, pretty big gig because it was like TCU was full. Like it was the whoever's going to be at the
people, whatever it is there.
Yeah, like
cool.
it was great. And it was a pretty short set. Like I don't know if we played 20 minutes or half an hour or something as people were coming in, but that was really cool because that was our own gig, you know?
Right.
I always feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect of like, I'm so grateful to play with Brad, but I recognize like that wasn't my gig.
Right.
I was, hired to be there, which is amazing, but I can't take credit for like all the cool experiences that we had because I was just hopped in the van or hopped in the truck and let's go, you know? Yeah. But yeah, and then even in recent years, it's been good. Like playing, I play guitar for Caitlin Lehner the last few years, and like we've opened for Blue Rodeo at the Calgary Stampede Cowboys tent, which like that was super fun. 3,000 people that are just rip roaring, ready to go. Or Labor Day Classic halftime show in Regina a few years ago.
Right. Rush game with them too, right?
Yeah, we did a Rush game. Actually, I did a Rush halftime show recently with Caitlin, but we did the first 2 home games, I think, or the first 2. Either way, whatever specific games they were with the Johnner Boys, it was sold out at Credit or what's it called? Why can I? Sastel Center. There it is. So whatever that is, like 10,000 people or something. The first time we played at kind of ground level, just off behind the DJ booth. That's always a little bit of a slap in the face, but I understand we're young and only playing for like 10 minutes at halftime or something, so 15 minutes maybe. And then the second time we got to play, they put us up in the bird's nest, which that's maybe a photo I can send to you.
Sure, yeah.
A couple cool shots from that where it was like high energy, super crazy. Nobody's really paying attention because they're going to get drinks and whatever at halftime, but it was wild because, yeah, just being there and having any amount of eyes on you in that venue at that time was like...
That's pretty fun, yeah.
It was just crazy because the energy was already wild in the room.
Rush game, yeah.
At the start. Like, I don't know if the energy's kind of changed now, but when they were, new to the city and exciting, it was like, holy man, this is winning. Like... Yeah. It was great. It was crazy energy. So
cool. Those
would be some standout. Yeah, that's probably like a general synopsis. One more that I think is really cool. There's a theater in Moose Jaw.
It's funny, I don't remember playing that show with you. That's fine.
There's a theater in Moose Jaw that is, so many people are going to know what the name of the theater. I can't remember.
Is it the Lyric or is that Swift?
I want to say, what's May Wilson? Is that? I don't think that's the one. I'm getting my wires crossed here, but theater in Moose Jaw. And I remember playing with Brad and the guys years ago, and we were playing a song called For the Good Times, like an old timey country song. And I remember taking a few steps back. I usually played on stage left, and I took a few steps further left and just kind of looked in, and I looked up, and I looked at the guys, and I looked at the audience, and it was just a very sort of omniscient view of like, this is happening, and I'm on stage, and this is just a nice song.
Cool.
Everybody's sitting and enjoying, and it was just like a comfortable, happy. It was just like a really, really nice, because it wasn't stressful in that moment.
Right.
It just sounded good. There was like lights, and it was just a calm. It was just a really cool experience, and just in a beautiful room like that was really fun.
Those are fun. That's cool.
I think I like those gigs more than the bashy, bar drinking stuff. Like those are always cool to have people like obviously having a good time and like fist bumping and doing whatever, but
you're also scared the entire time that somebody's going to dump a beer on your
That's
pedal
right.
board.
And that has happened, like at the Rush game.
Yeah.
Beer dumped on the pedal board for sure. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So there's always a trade-off with those, but the more attentive shows I find I always have more fond memories of.
Cool.
For sure.
To the genre thing, one thing that I'm always big on for shows is prep and musicians who prep for shows. Yep. I can imagine they've played a couple of shows, so the prep there must have been spot on. Both in terms of like you said, the show was always very well organized, as well as Brad's probably not forgetting a guitar cable, that kind of stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about that is in the time of playing with Brad, and like the guys still do this, they usually supply all their own PA and lights and everything. So if a cable's on stage, it goes in the trailer, and then it stays in the trailer, and then it comes back out. We did have a few speakers that would bring down for practice, or like, I'd have it, I call it my bag of tricks with like, cables and
random adapters,
whatever stuff. And if a cable's meant to be in there, I would take it out, plug it into the amp or pedal board or whatever, use it, put it back in that bag. And at the time of playing with them, like I had a completely independent home rig and
perfect.
Like road rig. Like I would even leave my guitar there most of the time. Like I got a different guitar at home. Like everything stays.
Cool.
So that was really nice. Yeah.
Were you you played guitar and bass in those, right?
I did. Yeah. Depending on the kind of the timeline, I started off playing guitar and very quickly switched to kind of bass and guitar split. So if it was a higher energy song, I would play electric guitar, and Brad would play bass actually.
Oh.
Luke would stay on keys, but he'd pull up, like a cool organ sound or something. Quinn would stay on guitar, and Jesse, and then eventually Matt would be on drums.
Cool.
And and then if it was more like a country song or Brad's originals or something that needed a little bit of less energy, Brad would be on acoustic, I'd play bass, and the other guys would stay. So Brad and I would just basically switch in the show.
Cool. That's fun.
And that worked out really well. In later years, I'd say 20, maybe 17, 18, 19, I was dedicated bass only. Just the way that the shows were going, they were getting a little more kind of cabaret focused and more country.
Right.
So we just kind of honed in on a thing and didn't do as much of the diverse. Like we'd play, Money, which
Pink Floyd?
The Beatles.
Oh.
Isn't that the Beatles? Or no?
The song in Seven?
Like,
Pink
money,
Floyd?
money, that's what I want. The best things in life are free. Birds and bees, money.
All right, it's not catch me at all. Okay.
Wow, this is embarrassing. There's
Yep.
a couple things that I've forgotten that's like, I shouldn't be forgetting this.
All the drinking.
Cut it out.
Nonsense.
Cut it out.
Cut it.
Gone. But yeah, like we do that, or like Runaway Baby by Bruno Mars is killer.
Yep.
The guys still play that at the show. And yeah, stuff like that. So we had to kind of focus in on a country thing. And then the last, like, I only did a few gigs after COVID. And that was focused on just electric guitar the whole show. Yeah, so that's kind of the last experience there. So between the two, I definitely feel most at home playing bass and singing low harmony. That's my, like, that feels right.
Cool.
I love playing guitar. I love if I get to sing anything is great. But yeah, something about playing bass and singing low harmonies, like, this is, it feels, it's home, you know, it's like comfy cozy.
I'm more comfortable playing guitar and singing higher harmony. And we play in a band together where we both don't do either of those two things.
Yeah, we should change that, hey?
Yeah. Cool.
Figure that out.
Yeah. Cool. In terms of, like, just general feel, is there a favorite time in your musical career? For example, mine would be like I was in a band with my buddy Rob McIntosh, like a heavy rock band. I was, working at Long McQuaid. That made enough money to pay bills, do whatever. And then we got to go just play rock, drink beer, and drink more beer, basically.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of like zero worries about anything kind of time.
Yep. I've got two for completely different reasons. So one is same as that without the beer until after the show.
Just weed?
Nope.
Oh.
Never got into that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we dabble a little bit now, but we've never really gotten into
Not
that.
in the thing I just did. No.
Yeah, no. Brad had a rule for us, which I think has definitely served me well, where until you were done playing and you pack up, you don't have a drink.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't want to become dependent on that. And I think that's what a lot of, especially young musicians, like, it helps you get over the nerves, of course. But now if it becomes a crutch or you need that to perform, then it's like, well,
Yeah. You're going to.
whoops.
Yeah.
So, I know people, like, it's like having one drink or something is not a problem. But I think if you're relying on it, it's like,
Sure.
That's going to be kind of a limiting factor. So I think for the Brad stuff, it was great because we, wouldn't have a drink until after the show. And even then, like, sometimes we wouldn't even drink after the show. Like, it's not always applicable. If we're staying overnight or there's, the party's continuing after we play, then, let's maybe have a couple, but it's, it doesn't have to, like, revolve around that.
Yeah. Cool.
So that kind of 2015, 2016, I'd say was like golden era because all of us could pretty much just focus 100% on the band.
Cool.
Like, on stage and off stage, we were recording covers. We started recording originals at that time. Our first original album came out at the end of 2016.
Cool.
So that 2015, 2016 was like, that's what my life was. And I had a part-time job at Bike Doctor in town here, through that whole thing. But, yeah, I don't know. It was nice that everybody could kind of put the same focus into it and really be on the same page. And I think that was the best. And then now is actually another one of my favorite times for a totally different reason, because being able to focus more on the studio now, I get to focus on having it be something that I'm comfortable with and something that I want to be doing. And I think for where I'm at right now with, like, music and life and whatever, I think not having to rely on anybody is kind of nice.
Yep.
I still like the team aspect of things, but, the live playing that I do now is more of a hired gun thing. Like, I'm not a core member necessarily of any band. Like, I'm not fronting any money. I'm not making any decisions. I just kind of
Here's the show. Here's the
try
playlist.
to learn the parts as best I can and go do it. Play some nerds, and it's all good.
I'm glad you didn't look at me when you said the try thing. Like, try.
No, looking at both of us, I go cross-eyed, camera and Thaka.
All right. Obvious answer, but what is music to you now? Well,
Everything, kind of. I think depending on the day, it could be anything. Sometimes it's limited to work. Sometimes it's, a day of, like, only experimentation and just whatever I'm feeling specifically to avoid work or to, I shouldn't say avoid, but to
pick exactly what you want to do that day.
Yeah. Well, just to keep the spark ignited, lit. Keep the spark lit.
You used a couple of big words before, and then now you're taking yourself back down.
It's like we said earlier, it's a roller coaster.
I talk good.
Yeah, so good. So that is it. I think it just depends on the day. I'm always listening to music, or if I'm not working on music, I'm probably on YouTube learning about how to make or record music.
Thanks, Eric Valentine.
Almost every day. Yeah, Eric Valentine.
Open invite if you want to come on.
That's right. Next podcast, I'll be co-host.
Yeah, perfect.
Are those undertone preamps in your rack there, Matt?
They are. Not yet a sponsor.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Yeah.
What were you talking about, spending exorbitant amounts of money on gear?
No, I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, okay. Just me. Cool.
What was the question? What are we doing?
What is music to you know? Well,
everything. We answered that.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite music? For two things. Say I want to hear just something that's really cool or new that I haven't maybe heard before, or I'm cooking, this is in the background, you're talking to Lindy at the same time, that kind of thing. Do you have different things?
Yeah, the background music around the house, we have lots of Jack Johnson on. John Mayer comes on quite a bit too. If it's Christmas time, Michael Bublé's Christmas album is big. Casey Musgraves all the time. Either summer regular Casey or Christmas Casey is great for Christmas time.
Is it? Cool.
Yep.
Good.
And then like Lizzie McAlpine, I like putting on kind of background vibes. Could be both though.
But yeah, when you dig in, there's some shit going on in those albums.
It's crazy. Yeah. Or if I'm really either in a mood that I have to get out of, or just feel through it in like maybe I'm angry or just need to feel something more than just calm. I'm still a pretty big metal or like hardcore type stuff. Not necessarily that it's all new, but I keep going back to things. Asking Alexandria has a self-titled record.
What's it called?
That is so good. Mixed by Taylor Larson, another person. I haven't had many actual mentors along the way, but Taylor Larson is one of the guys that I have actually paid money to have a couple of phone calls with, and it was a huge help. This was about 2016 or 17. I think one each year, a few months apart. And that was a big thing. Really like his work. Eric Valentine, Taylor Larson. I just answered this the other day on social media. Greg Wells, Phineas. I can't think of anybody else that has been a mentor or a help. No,
even being serious, I don't think there's any way you could call me a mentor.
That's right. I think
peers.
you're
we do bounce ideas off each other all the time. But
sure, yeah. Or the amount of text that he sends me that's like, hey, check out this piece of software.
Yeah, it's
like,
too much.
Have you heard of this? Or buy this on Amazon. Or, whatever.
Check out this picture of my wiener. Dog.
Hi, Lloyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like the thing.
Cool.
I still remember that Long and McQuaid clinic that you put on when I was a youngin'. Like, that was in the high school days.
Yeah, you asked the only question in that thing. Yep.
Yeah.
It was about some, weird. I remember what it was. I was like, anybody got any questions? And he was like, I recorded a band. I think they had a pedal steel. And you were like, yeah, what would you do to get rid of that like 3K ringing in the pedal steel? And I'm like, the fuck you like fish around? Like, what the fuck is this, kid? What's going on here? Get out of here. This is my thing. I'm trying to look good.
Yeah.
It's weird that I remember that. Crazy.
Yeah, I remember the whole like the setup, and I was so far away, and that was the best, or so far away relative to how I'm used to hearing speakers, and those speakers, because I had those same speakers at the time. Like I still have the Yamaha
80s,
HS8s, yeah. Right. And I was like, how do those sound so good? Or you have a sub, or what's going on? And that's what like opened my brain to the room matters, the speaker placement matters, and just everything about listening environment and how that all works is a huge thing. So that's like still kind of a pain in the ass. I'm always trying to figure out how to make my room sound better, but I think we're at least plateauing or trying to not distract myself with that for at least a couple months. So
you're at a place where the next big step is 5 figures. Like
hopefully not.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hi, Lindy.
Yeah. Save my money. Build a new studio and house. That's
we'll just have to go together. Together, all three of us could probably get like a $2 million house, and we'll build 2 half studios.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll go from there. Won't
Totally.
be
Yeah,
weird.
we can afford that.
Just a weird
That's
little
the kind of
throuple.
money you make as a music producer. We can get a $2 million house for sure.
They let you do 65-year loans, don't they? Probably at about 65%.
Yeah,
Now,
that's right.
cool. Actually, going back to the mentor thing, feel free to answer this however you want, but is there either band or musician you'd like to sit in with playing, or a band, musician, engineer you'd like to be a fly on the wall for a studio session?
Yeah. I think playing, I don't know if I'm as excited on that end of it right now. Although I would still probably say Mariana's Trench has kind of always been on my list. I'm actually, Matt Webb, their guitar player, is my third cousin. So our parents are first cousins. And
Sorry, your parents are first cousins? Sorry.
Leave it to him, you know?
Sorry.
So I've actually had some chance to meet the guys and hang out. And actually, it was 2018. I got to go to Vancouver and sit in on like 2 or 3 days of drum tracking for their Phantoms album.
Cool.
And that was really cool. I think it was, you know, between their YouTube documentaries of how things are done and listening to the music and talking to Matt. And I've gotten to have a few focused conversations with Josh as well, which has just been awesome. About their process and to see how it works for drum tracking, or just how everything works in talking to them. It's coincidentally quite similar to how I would do things, which I was not expecting to find. That was very, very interesting getting to be there. It's obviously on a bigger and more awesome scale, but it wasn't like a brand new process and like an eye-opening thing. It was like, well, yeah, do that. Right. That's kind of how I do it. It's just, this is way better, but like, cool. That's great. So I think their process, just, you know, knowing the guys and the sounds and the songs, it's a good combination of that kind of pop rock thing, which I've always been into. And I would say they're my obvious choice for sure.
Cool.
I'm sure there's others that would come up. There's lots that I would say yes to, but none that are like immediately coming to mind, you know?
Right. Now for the first date question, first concert, best concert?
Nickelback, Bruno Mars.
Cool.
I was 10 when I went to Nickelback.
Wow.
I was sitting, I think, row 8 at the back, like looking directly at the stage on the other side of the standing pit, whatever. And I could feel that pyro on my face as a 10-year-old. I'm like, that's crazy. It's got to be so hot on stage.
Sure.
And then, Bruno Mars has got to be the best show. Man, his energy, the choreography, the songs, obviously, his live performance is phenomenal. His whole backup band doing the moves and the singing and the dancing and everything, that had some crazy pyro as well. But just the whole way that the show is put together, like Bruno Mars is a huge influence on, just kind of my musical, I guess, dreams. I don't know if I actually implement too much of Bruno's, like what he does on stage in my sort of day-to-day life, or even if it's songwriting or producing or whatever. I don't know if he's an obvious reference for any of that, but if you want to see good live performance videos, spend some time finding Bruno Mars videos live, like live at the Grammys, live at different award shows and stuff.
Man, every time I hear his name, I think of him playing at it's a Sting getting the, come on. It's an award in the States. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Bruno Mars comes out and starts singing So Lonely. And like, it starts high as shit. Oh, yeah. And he starts just like, bang, dead on, perfect. Like Kenny Aronoff's playing drums. That was like just a ridiculous band. It's okay. Yeah. But yeah, first note is like bang and never missed at all.
He's one of the few people that I would say, like I'm always drawn to the studio recordings and stuff, but I would say Bruno Mars still for me is better live than on the record all the time.
I think a lot of people feel that way about Prince too.
Sure. Like, well, it has a huge influence on Bruno, I think. Sure. Yeah.
Because he's one of those, like, you hear it and you're like, yep, great music. And then you're like, oh, he played everything? Holy shit. Oh, he usually did a song a day and then never touched it again. Holy shit. Yeah. And then you see the live videos of him
adding up,
jumping off of amp pegs and landing in the splits and coming back up. And now we're saying, like, Jesus.
Yeah, he's crazy.
It's kind of like when you see an athlete throw a football and you're like, oh, we're not the same thing. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like, it's just a totally different ballpark. It's like, I got 6 strings, same as you, but we're playing different instruments here.
Yep, that's right.
That's funny.
Cool.
So Bruno, I guess that's that.
Was that here too?
Yeah, all in Saskatoon.
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many concerts abroad, I don't think. If any, really. I went to New York in grade 12 on the band trip, and we saw like some classical orchestral concerts and that kind of stuff and some plays. But I don't know if I've ever really seen a big concert away. Oh, definitely not at the top of my list, but it was a good experience. This last August, I got to go see Def Leppard and Journey with Cheap Trick opening.
Right.
So all these kind of like legacy bands. I think it was really good to see. Too many guitar solos for me, even as a guitar player. I'm like, it's whatever. Big old explosion, guitar solo, walk out on the catwalk, come back, do it again, 4 hours. It's like, it was really cool, and it was a lot the same.
Could be like the AC/DC thing where they're just getting tired. It's like, singer's tired, like another solo.
Yeah. But it was good. And that was like the biggest venue that I've ever seen a show in, so that was cool.
Cool.
At, what is it, Rogers Center there, so, but yeah.
Cool. All right. Final question, which I plan on asking to everybody. Do you have any advice for 16-year-old Simon? Be that musically, personally, financially, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I think just stay on track and keep going is always a good one. I think it's okay to feel confident and proud of what you're doing. I was kind of a lot of imposter syndrome growing up, where it's like, if I was in my room alone making a song, I'm like, yeah, this is great and I love it. But sometimes showing it to other people, it's like, I'm still kind of like this, where it's like hard to take a compliment where somebody says something and I'm like, oh, thanks. But like, I'm still kind of, whatever. And you sort of dodge it a little bit, which I'm trying not to do, because it's
you can always see the holes in your own thing, but
yeah, of course, you're always too close to it. But I think just, it's okay to be like confident and proud and show people stuff. Because like even now, there's so much stuff that I have either on the go or things that I have done that I'm really proud of that most people probably don't know have ever existed, just because it's like, there's a bunch of reasons for that. Either like I got in my own way and didn't post something, or, maybe there was a project that I did for somebody that they never ended up releasing it, but it's like, oh man, I've put so much of this work in here, or just an idea that still lives in my head that it takes the same amount of time as doing this, and I could have done it maybe twice by now. Right. And I just haven't, because I'm scared, I guess. I don't think, like, saying that out loud, it doesn't sound like that's what it is, but I think, if you kind of dig into it, it's like, I think everybody's scared to share that creative thing, because it's, in some way, it's like a reflection of you.
If I don't love it, you might think I don't love you, or I don't.
That's right.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, and I've never like connected that, and I, even saying that, like, I don't think that's what it is, but I would imagine that has something to do with it, because it's hard to disassociate from like, here's my art that I created from nothing,
right?
Which, like, undoubtedly is a representation of me, because it's, it's not a cover song. It's like, this is an original thing that I made, and show it off. Yep. Do more of them, I was just having a conversation with somebody today, like, put your music out. You got to put it out.
You can't release the next best thing until you release the first best thing. Like,
and I find you don't learn. There's probably 20% of whatever the thing is that you don't learn, or the pieces don't fall into place until it's released. Even if it's done, you don't see it yet.
Right.
Once it's released and somebody else has heard it, then it flips and it's like, okay, I can see that for what it is now. Make the next one better, but you have to put it out before you move on. Otherwise, it's like you just get this like backlog of you got too many things on the brain, and you're still stuck in like, I'm going to use that same technique again because it was cool on that one, but nobody else has heard it and you haven't had any feedback. Right. It's like the same thing as, when somebody else is in the room, if you listen to your same mix with somebody else in the room, different experience. Oh, yeah. It's wild. Yep. So it's the same thing. As soon as it's released, not finished, released. I think that's so important, because people hold on to their stuff too long. And I'm holding on to stuff right now, not like music or anything, but little like social media posts or whatever. It's like small scale, but just put it out there. It's okay to be proud and to do it. And then hopefully the next one will be better. That's the goal, Yeah. But you got to get to the next one. If you work on one project for a year, it's not going to be better than You could take a year to do 3 projects. The third one's going to be way better.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go back and keep filling holes and squaring off edges forever, and that doesn't make it a better song. Like,
No. And the people that are listening to it aren't going to hear those
hell no.
squared edges, rounded edges, whatever you said.
Yeah.
The thing that are.
Edges, yes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
All right.
And look at us now. We're just older.
Being licked by a wiener dog. Stop it. Okay. Oh. All right, we did it. This has been From the Top.
I've been Simon.
This is Lloyd. Should I mention that we're both nervous talking in microphones?
No, they'll get that.
Judging by how red my face is right now. This is fun. That was in the moment thing.
You've got plenty of B-roll already. That's great.
Jamie, pull that up.
There's a baby dragon by my feet. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Hi there. Welcome to Hot Ones, the show with hot wings and even hotter questions.
That's not how it goes.
And even hotter guests now.
Go.
I'm trying to think of the first thing I say. And then...
You're grooving out.
I don't even know why I recorded an intro. I got it here.
That's right.
Hey, welcome... No, I don't like that already. Hey, welcome to Friend... Fuck.
Welcome to From the Top.
Hey, welcome to From the Top. I'm your... Fuck you, really?
Okay, I'm glad that we both said words.
Yeah. Cool. Well... Thanks for coming on the first episode.
This was fun.
Whoa.
It's like we finish each other's sandwiches.
Yeah. Cool.
Stupid laugh. You probably loop that, I think. No, in post. You got to loop my laugh. That was ridiculous.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hey, Noibs. Oh, thank you. Okay. On that note.
Yeah. This is From the Top. Thanks to Simon Jasieniuk.
I was going to say, I've been Simon.
Okay, we'll do it again. Sorry. All right.
Now let's do it for real.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hit record.